Hey folks, I'm back with another review on a pretty popular budget mouse brand, but with a pretty rare and unusual version. This is the AJAZZ Aj179NL-P gaming mouse. While the model itself is pretty popular, it can be found quite easily. This version that I'm using right now is the Nearlink P model. The specs and build quality isn't too much different from the other versions, but this Nearlink P uses a very different receiver, and it doesn't use a web-based software like the Apex version does. At the same time, this thing has 800 mAh battery capacity. Let me give you the full specs. AJ179NL-P. NL stands for Nearlink, of course. Runs on a 3395 sensor. It has tri-mode connection, max polling rate of 1 kHz, Guano green shell white spot switches, F-switch encoder, and it weighs 63 grams. It has a battery capacity of 800 mAh. Build quality of this mouse is actually very good. There is no sign of flexing even with moderate force applied. There is also no rattle of components either. This ergo shape is actually very similar to the Lamzu Thorn, and it's actually very good and perfect for small to medium palm grips. To me, once again, this mouse missed the mark by just a little bit when it comes to the physical comfort. It is a little bit too small for my palm, for my hands, and the weight is somewhat on the heavier side. But these are far from what I call a deal breaker. The issue actually lies somewhere else. All of the buttons on this mouse were great. All of them have very similar click pressure. Mouse 1 and mouse 2 were very spammable. Travel distance is little to moderate, and their rebounds were spot on either. Middle clicks felt great, as expected of F-switch. Side buttons also didn't recess, and they're very well positioned. The scrolling, however, is trash. If you're open to more smoother kind of scroll, I think you might be able to bear with this. But to me, this clearly was a mushy kind of a scrolling feedback. My biggest complaint about this mouse was the software and reliability. While the software is not web-based, it's not the end of the world for me, if it works as intended. But no. First of all, whenever you start the software up, it prompts for an update of the mouse and receiver, which for some reason just couldn't get the update to complete properly. And I'm really questioning whether or not this mouse actually has an onboard memory, because the software somehow keeps resetting my settings at random. My profile gets resetted every once in a while, and I will have to import in the save from my local drive in order to revert back my settings. The DPI setting on this thing was also pretty wonky. I couldn't assign any of the LED colors to the DPI, so I have no idea what exactly is it, unless I feel, the mouse cursor on the screen. The key response delay was also absolute dog shit. It defaulted at 0, but trust me, when I set it to 0, I constantly have experienced the clicks registration glitches. So ideally, you want to set 1 or 2 milliseconds for this mouse. And throughout my period of testing, I've experienced this mouse stop working for like 2 to 3 times in total. In order to get it to work again, you need to turn the mouse off or switch it to the Bluetooth mode, and then switch it back to the receiver mode again. And don't get me started with the Bluetooth mode. There is no way for you to assign custom buttons on the Bluetooth mode, because when you switch over to the Bluetooth mode, it doesn't carry over your settings from either the wired or the receiver mode. So it's defaulted as forward and backward settings on the side buttons. And also when you switch from Bluetooth mode back to the receiver mode, it resets your setting once again. What a mess. The software also doesn't clearly indicate the remaining battery percentage. I've been testing this mouse for well over 5 days, and I can only get a very unreliable estimation based off the Bluetooth battery percentage or indicator, and it says 90%. Well, if that is really true, it's great, but the experience of using this mouse is just too unreliable. I truly wanted to give this mouse a chance, but the software is complete dog shit. They have only the web-based software made available for the Apex model. I'm sorry to say, but I have to rate this mouse a 3 out of 10, and I will have to completely avoid any of the AJ's products moving forward. Buy at your own risk. Not recommended at all.